What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Proto Art. So for today's little demo, we are going to be turning a watery aquatic woman into like a fish tank. I don't know how else to describe it. So I have got some images from a little free site. Probably post a link below. And this isn't really going to be a demo on how to mascot backgrounds for that, because there's all kinds of tutorials on YouTube. I don't see a lot for photo compositing, at least free ones. A lot of them are like paid subscriptions. So for this, it's just going to be a quick demo. Primarily what I'm going to be doing is using the mask to kind of gradually paint away some of the image, so it kind of makes it more believable that it's in the background, it's in that environment. We're also going to be sampling colors from the original image to kind of overlay over the fish themselves to kind of make it more believable that it's also in the environment. So all I'm doing right now is resizing, reshaping, and kind of warping the image how it might be seen in water. Excuse me for yawning. I've been off of lack of sleep for a little while here at the start of the new job, and it's been kind of tricky to make time to make these videos and allocate more time to artwork. I apologize if I yawn a few times. Like, it's nothing personal. I'm just working hard. Okay, so yeah, I'm just using a warp tool to kind of bend the little fish around here. And really, you can use any old software. For this example, I'm using Photoshop, but it's the same idea. You can use, like, what's the other one out there? I think it's called like GIMP. It's a pretty popular free software that's almost identical to Photoshop. But yeah, as I said it before, we're just using masks. So that's what I did now. I just added a little mask layer by hitting that little square with the little circle in the middle looking button there, if you're not familiar with all the tools in Photoshop. On the fish layer, and with a low opacity set, I just kind of painted away some of the fish so it makes it seem like it's actually within side of the aquatic woman. I'm sampling background colors and creating a new layer, and with that new layer created, I'm just filling that all in with the background color I sampled, and I'm clipping that to the fish layer itself. Now with that clip to it, I'm kind of playing around to see which blending mode looks ideal, so I think I settled on color. So yes, with that color applied, it kind of makes it, a little bit more believable that it's actually within the same water as her. I do kind of continuously paint away a little bit of the fish, and then also bring back some of the original color, as I think it was a little too strong, so I'll play around with the opacity right here. I may actually end up fast forwarding through some of this because I don't want this to be a 20-minute video, as it easily can be. You can spend literally hours and hours and hours on one image, just adding small details here and there, and I don't want that to be the case. So all I'm doing right now is masking, or bringing back, I should say, because masking was hiding it. So now I'm revealing the image by inverting the mask by hitting X when I have my brush tool selected, and I'm painting back in some of the original color, or the image itself, because I had taken away too much of it, so you couldn't really tell what this animal was supposed to be. I think I'm gonna fast forward a little bit here, and we'll get back to this in a second. So now that we brought our second fish in and added a color overlay, and we're going to make sure that you label all your layers too, because it's very easy to kind of get lost as to where you're at. We're going to add another mask layer onto our second fish layer, I should say. And with the brush tool and black selected with your paintbrush, just gradually painting away. Like I said, I'm at 50% opacity, but you can always go lower and play around with the flow and just slowly paint away layer by layer, just little sections. All you're doing is selling it. And this skill can be applied to anything. It doesn't necessarily need to be this. It could be whatever you're trying to sell for. Let me give a better example. For instance, if you're trying to create like a composite of something within like a water bottle or something, or it doesn't necessarily need to be a bottle, but something transparent behind a window, inside of a car, whatever it needs to be, whatever the case may be. It's the same premise. You're just kind of making sure that the color of the environment matches the image for one, that whatever you're seeing, if it's transparent, that it's affected by light in a certain way. So that's why I'm not only just adding a solid color to it and painting away parts of it, I'm also bringing some colors back, because in this particular case, the entire color wouldn't be gone, wouldn't all be blue. It'd have some of the highlights from like the yellows and stuff would still be showing. That's why I'm gradually bringing it back. So what I'm doing right here is, after I kind of blended those layers together, I'm adding a blur, a Gaussian blur to the image of the fish to kind of sell it, because what water also does, it kind of affects how easily you can sell things. That's another way you can create depth of an image when it's in water, is to, one, make it slightly more out of focus by adding like a Gaussian blur or various other blurs, and then two, how it's affected by color. So light plays a big part in selling this as well. So if it's further back, less details visible, so it would probably be more blurry. If it's closer to the surface, it's more visible, so you'd see more detail. That's kind of the best way I can think of explaining it. So yeah, I'm adding a very small blur, just kind of playing around with the blending, because this, how I envisioned it, the fish is kind of closer to the surface in this example. Now I do realize a lot of these are very repetitive actions, but they're kind of necessary if you're trying to sell something that's like super realistic and detailed. It just can be very long and boring to do. So the next step we are going to be doing is adding a additional effect on here with the curves adjustment tool. And all I'm going to be doing, you'll see me do this in a second here, is reducing the brightness level and the shadow intensity with the curve. The reason I'm doing this is to kind of help sell that the fish is in the same environment as the woman is. As you can see, when I had it side by side, she's super contrasted, and the fish is, however, just on one part of it. They're lit completely differently. So that's why I kind of wanted to like make the image more dull, kind of. And then after I do that, it's the same process of colorizing it, resizing it, adding a mask layer to the fish, painting away parts of the fish, and painting away parts of the color layer, playing around with the opacity, so it all looks like it's in the same environment. So I'll stop again from here and kind of speed through this so you don't have to sit through all of this right now.
Okay, so I just want to re-emphasize the important parts are to create layer masks, blending your initial image into the background a little bit using the mask, taking some parts out because you're creating depth, blurring that image so you're creating an additional layer to that depth, using another layer, sampling the original background image to paint the color so it matches the overall image. And you can add like little highlights and shadows here and there to kind of also blend it in even more. But that's pretty much the basics of it, y'all. There's really no tricks and magic to it. It's just taking time to make sure all your layers are blended accordingly with the lighting, shadow, and whatnot. So be sure to follow, like, subscribe, and stay posted for the latest videos. This is the Proto Art, and I hope you guys enjoyed.